All right. Do you want to hit me with the they took everything from me, and I'll...
Yeah, absolutely. Here you go.
They took everything from me. No, they took my family.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts Abigail Thorne and Devon.
How you doing?
Hey.
We're done. We're done with Tom Clancy movies.
We're ready to disavow this motherfucker.
That's right. We are ready to disavow all knowledge of Tom Clancy's activities. We're finally caught up with Michael B. Jordan in Without Remorse.
I've got some remorse having watched this film, let me tell you.
I fucking hated this movie.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So this is Without Remorse is the origin story of John Clark, who we last saw being played by Liev Schreiber, and before that, by what's the dude's
Willem
fucking
Dafoe?
name? Willem Dafoe.
This movie would have been
Willem
better
Dafoe.
if it was Willem Dafoe.
100%.
Yeah,
Not to besmirch Michael B. Jordan, but just
not like young Willem Dafoe,
proper, like,
current
old
day
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, you do like an origin story. The dude's in his 60s. Perfect.
Really good.
You know? But yeah, so this was part of a 2-movie deal. Michael B. Jordan signed to do this and Rainbow Six as a sequel, which we're going to have to come back to when it comes out. I'm not looking forward to it. Rainbow Six, one of the more right-wing Tom Clancy novels, which is fucking saying something.
I mean, this does fit into because John Clark is meant to be like the fascist counterpart to Jack Ryan's liberalism,
he's like the
right?
action man. Yeah, exactly. And so we begin in we begin with some Splinter Cell shit.
Yeah, so my first note was, this is going to be so fucking bad. And the reason why I wrote that down is because we are first introduced to our protagonist killing 2 people before we even see his face.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that tactical guys love to do is to like rise from murky water with a gun. And this has one of the great rising from murky water with a gun shots. As we see a Navy SEAL team infiltrating Aleppo, Syria.
I mean, the subtitle tells us that it's Aleppo, Syria. It looks like the surface of Mars. Like, does Aleppo look like this?
Well, this is the interesting thing. They've heard all of the criticisms about how, you shoot a movie in the Middle East, you just use the orange filter. What they've done here is they've used the blue filter instead, which perversely makes it harder to see what's happening.
Yeah. Hey, this movie, you can't see it. That's one of the major problems I would say about this movie. Every time anything happens, it's nighttime and you can't see what's fucking happening.
But also, like, is Aleppo that destroyed? Because it looks like a nuke has hit. And I'm like, is it that fucked up?
I can't answer that confidently.
Yeah,
it looks like fucking the American popular imagination of the Middle East, right? It looks like Stalingrad. Irrespective of the fact that Syria is engaged currently in a civil war, it looks, as you say,
like you took a Stalingrad and dropped it onto another Stalingrad from a great height.
Yeah, like if there are 2 bricks on top of each other, a guy has come by with an AK and like shot one of those bricks.
That's right.
Just to show willing, I guess. And so this first sequence I've written in my notebook here is, what if Zero Dark 30 was made without any of the talent? It's a Navy SEAL team. Michael B. Jordan is on it, along with the officer commanding it, Lieutenant Commander Greer.
Yeah, who is, as we later find out, the niece of James Earl Jones from previous movies. It's not relevant, but she is.
They get roped into a sort of a secret CIA kill squad type mission by a guy who was displaying one of 2 possible CIA fits, right? There's two outfits you can unlock for Mr. CIA Man.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously his default outfit, the traditional USian huge suit.
Of course.
But then there's also a bonus outfit, which is the sort of the in-country Mr. CIA Man. Most famously seen in like Dark Knight Rises. where it's a guy in like a polo and like khakis. Here it's a flannel and khakis, but again, very like large outfit. And it's the outfit that screams, "I am going to betray you because I'm in the CIA and I'm doing some shady CIA shit."
Yeah, this character's name is Ritter, and he's played by Jamie Bell. I like this. I like Jamie Bell's performance in this.
I wrote this down. Jamie Bell does such a good job playing a character whose like main attribute is cunt. Like he just fucking, he's so good.
Yeah.
He's got such a punchable face. He's wonderful, fantastic.
I'm up
fella.
to shit that I'm not going to tell you.
Good.
Is his whole deal.
Yeah,
he's really good at it.
He's
really
very good at like motivating people and engaging them on a personal level to hate him. Which is the opposite of what you would typically want to do, I find, but whatever. And so we get a little bit of banter between him and the SEALs. We get the same thing as with Jack Ryan, where if you're in the military, your other guy's main role is to kind of like hype you up. There's two MOSs in the military, protagonist and hype man. So the protagonist walks in and his hype men are like, "Oh shit, he's kind of a badass."
Yeah.
Because Michael B. Jordan is part of this Navy SEAL team. At this point, he's called John Kelly.
That's right. During this sequence, by the way, we get a second thing which signaled to me that this movie was going to be horrendous, which was all of the credits that come up on the screen start out in Cyrillic text and then turn into English, which to me, I saw that and I was like, Russia, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're doing Russia again.
Literally the ones
no spooky orthodoxy this time.
Two full Jack Ryan movies ago, they were making fun of still using Russia, and now...
Oh, fuck, I literally have that drop somewhere. Hold on.
I have to choose someone else to face off against besides the Russians all the time.
Seemingly not.
Someone should tell the writers of Without Remorse try that.
Yeah, no, we can just go back to them. So their mission is to rescue a CIA guy who has been captured by Assad government, Syrian government forces. In order to do this, you need to use the magic suppressors from movies that make this noise. The kind of thing that, like, you know, no one can hear it when it's happening 20 feet away from them. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's like in John Wick when the two of them are shooting each other with suppressors.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. Like, as soon as they get into the gunfights, it is John Wick, but worse, like less inspired. We've moved. It drops the Zero Dark 30 thing very quickly. Like, as soon as they get into a gunfight, like Clark or Kelly, as he then is, immediately like drops his rifle to knife fight a guy, and it's very sort of like very reminiscent of John Wick.
I ended up writing down a lot of things about John Wick because eventually I was like, I think that this movie is like going out of its way to reconstruct from first principles the movie that John Wick was deconstructing. Because it's like everything that John Wick does sort of as like a tongue-in-cheek satire, this thing just does. And we'll get into the various things with that as later on.
Yeah. So they and the CIA guy, they go to this safe house. They enter it. I have seen faster room clearing and airsoft games. Also, they do another thing that really annoys me, which is it mostly features in like cop movies rather than troop movies. But the thing of entering a room and shouting "clear" when you haven't cleared it, you're just looking at it. Always really annoys me. So this has been the Alice Autism Hour.
They kill some unarmed men, kill more unarmed people.
They do. And Kelly goes through one of their pockets and is like, wait a second, this man has Russian pockets.
This man has dropped some rare loot.
Yeah, no,
yes.
I don't know.
This guy's wearing a big hammer and sickle statement necklace. You lied to me, Mr. CIA man. You lied to me. You said these were Syrians, but these are Russians. And Ritter goes, "Oh yeah, aren't I a bastard?" Anyway, let's
he
go,
actually has a
please.
fun line where Kelly says, "You told us these guys are Syrians. These guys are Russians." And Ritter goes, "I didn't see any Russians." Which is just a really nice little like, "I'm in the CIA." Do not clip that.
Yeah. CIA clowns.
Yeah, you were right. You are in the CIA.
Yeah.
So then they're on their way out, and then a dude appears.
A guy fires an RPG at them in a corridor. It doesn't have like an arming distance because it does explode.
It's
And
unbelievable, man.
The guy is fine. The guy who fires it at them, standing directly in front of like a concrete wall, he's fine.
I think that guy like accidentally equipped the RPG to his melee weapon slot and didn't mean to do that.
You don't want to have the mouse wheel for this.
Bro, misclicked. Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
This perfectly drops Kelly through a floor where he and Greer have to fight their way out. Weirdly, he's telling her what to do, although she outranks him.
This doesn't stop happening.
Well, it's like she's injured in a way that like, doesn't really seem to come back or matter. And Ritter's like, leave her behind, and Ritter leaves. But Kelly stays to save her. They also discover that the Russians are using the safe house as an arms depot and like are dealing weapons out of it.
I should also say, Michael B. Jordan, he's a fine actor, right? Love to see him do some acting. This because what he's trying to convey, or what the direction he's been given here, is like, you're in a tough situation, but you're a Navy SEAL. You're like calm under pressure, and the way it comes off is the sort of like Operation Flashpoint armed assault, like radio procedures of like, oh no, like it's so flat, and it's really like it kind of like slid perfectly off my brain when I was watching it.
I think when the direction is to kind of do calm under pressure there, the soundtrack can really do a lot, because the Jason Bourne films do that a lot. Exactly, yeah. So
sure.
Bourne is often very calm, but the soundtrack is often quite tense, and so that kind of works because the soundtrack is almost giving us a window into his internal state. Whereas in this, I don't really remember anything about the soundtrack, and that suggests that it wasn't really holding up its end of the bargain. So they have this gunfight and they get out, and like. At this point, I want to say... It gets a
little point from me for knowing that you can like penetrate through a wall with a 5.56 millimeter round. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
At this point, like I noticed, and I've written down that like, the way that the Navy SEALs are shot and the way that they are portrayed in this film, I think they're going for badass. Like when they kill the two dudes in the water and they emerge, and like we see the American flag on Kelly's arm, but. As somebody who's like not American, what this really shows is like these often very darkly lit, often like very big people who are much better equipped than the people that they're killing. We're explicitly shown that they are killing unarmed people in a foreign land. There's also an interesting choice with the sound design where like we hear other people in the building screaming, like we hear children screaming at the sound of the gunshots. They're going for badass, but it makes them look like a fascist death squad. It's like it's really weird. These guys are like, they seem to me like obvious villains because they are just like slaughtering people, often unarmed, and they're meant to be the heroes. It's just very odd.
For sure. I think I have sort of fuller form thoughts about this that I'll save for when we do Zero Dark 30, because I think that's a competently made, in fact, a well-made thing that like engages with much of the same thing and has many of the same problems. But yeah, no, they are the bad guys.
There were multiple points where I just wrote down the protagonist, like just as like a sort of, that's the protagonist doing this, huh? Okay, all right.
Yeah, like first thing we see him do is murder two unarmed people. It's like, okay.
Cool. He has a speech later, but I'm excited.
We don't know anything about them. Like,
Kelly rescues Greer. They all get in the helicopter. In the helicopter on the way out, Kelly like tries to fight Mr. CIA man Ritter. Again, because the direction's so bad, his heart's like not really in it. He just kind of like growls at him for a bit. And then we go back to the United States where oh man.
Okay. So once again, I just want to be like, just like I said in Cody Banks 2, no one's given me the MacArthur Genius Grant for figuring out the plot of a movie. But the second you fucking... he gets back and it's just like, my name is Mr. John Kelly. Oh boy, I certainly love my pregnant wife. And you get 3 scenes of him going, I love my pregnant wife so much. And it's intercut with other members of his squad getting hit. And you're like, I get it, man. They're going to kill his fucking wife. Anyway, here's the...
They took everything from me, They took my family.
And it's like, how overjoyed do you think the Jack Ryan creators were to finally have a wife to fridge? Because they haven't been able to do it in the last 2, and they've wanted to so bad.
Oh, yeah. So we see two other members of his team, both of whom are like talking to their loved ones and they get killed. And
at the time, neither of them are doing anything interesting. They're just
the first guy who gets killed, like literally, he goes he goes out to take out the trash and he gets hit by a van like Scream or Scary Movie.
Just fucking taken out by a van.
It's genuinely really funny. And then we cut immediately from that to another guy passing into the anime realm because he's stuck in traffic. A van in front of him opens the doors and they shoot him through his windshield.
Same van.
Yeah.
When I saw
I wish the whole rest of the movie could have been this.
It was so fucking funny. Dude's like talking to his kids. He's like, I love both of you dearly. Aren't I a character in the movie? I was like, who's this guy? He walks out to the bins and he gets run over. And I wrote two things. I wrote garbage day. And then I wrote, I remember when the bin man used to do this.
I simply...
Oh, the bin man.
The bin man.
I simply wrote down LMAO twice.
It's just either this fucking guy.
Yeah, for sure. This is actually how they're going to wrap up the Try Guys. Is they're going to come back and they're just going to kill them all off one by one.
Just as they're taking out the bins. Do you remember when the bin man was hard? And like one of them's even on the phone to his wife. He's like, "Have you been hanging out with the boys?" And he's like, "Yeah."
She literally, her line is like, "You love hanging out with your Navy SEAL friends."
Yeah, it's like
which
establishing.
A great fucking line.
It's so good.
Don't establish him too hard. He's gone.
Oh, the bin man.
Oh, the bin man. Both of them. Both of them are actively talking to their loved ones at the time. Like either of them are like taking a shit or something.
In this country, the bin men strike. But in this film, the bin men strike.
Yeah, the bin men strike first.
Yeah.
So I think we should give the bin men first strike capacity. I think that's...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I believe this. So we see these guys get killed. It derailed me watching the movie about as hard as it derailed the podcast. I had to like pause just to laugh about it for a bit. It's
the best
great.
Bit of the film. Yes. It's all downhill now.
Genuinely it is. I wanted the rest of it to just be this 22 short films about killing various members of like this Navy SEAL team.
Just little vignettes. So good.
So anyway, Kelly has one more scene of like, I love my pregnant wife. And then he goes downstairs. She's asleep because she's pregnant.
He's like, I gotta go lie on the couch and eat a weirdly huge bowl of pistachios. And this gets to another problem, which is that Michael B. Jordan, if you've seen the way that he looks, particularly in this movie, he's a very athletic looking man, right? He's got a huge physique.
He's like Wolverine. He's fucking jacked.
Exactly.
Insanely so.
This dude looks like he only eats creatine. Like, I wouldn't believe that he has ever laid on a couch in his life without doing fucking sit-ups off of the edge of it or something.
Yeah, this. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of these fucking characters. Like, that's why I struggle every time I watch, like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a fucking movie when he's playing like an accountant or something, and not like every single person around him isn't constantly going, "Dude, you're fucking huge. What the fuck is going on?"
Sure.
Like,
it's also weird because like I think the reason why he has a giant bowl of pistachios is because they wanted him to have a giant bowl of popcorn, but that's too much because obviously this dude has never like touched a single kernel of popped corn.
This man's never had a carb.
It's fully like it's a huge bowl. Like you would get sick of those pistachios after a while, I think.
Yeah,
and like it's concerning that he just keeps that in his house too.
His wife has gone to bed,
bowl, maybe?
And he's gone downstairs to listen to music in the dark and eat a big bowl of pistachios, which is like weed behavior, except obviously
to do boy stuff like listen to music and eat way too many pistachios
in the fucking
You're
dark.
right, Dev. You're right, Dev. He should have been smoking weed. That would have been cool.
He should have been high. I mean, he was doing high guy shit just like for no reason.
Just doing it
so they cut the power and you go like, oh no, they fucked with the wrong guy now.
The bin men, they're in
the
there.
bin men are back. The bin men breach his house. He grabs a Glock and a flashlight Cool thing that they did. He doesn't like keep the flashlight on. He just flashes people in the eyes with it, which is good.
Yeah, that was
I like
good.
that. So he goes to try and like clear his own house. He kills 4 people, and then he runs into the 5th guy. Meanwhile, two guys are in his bedroom. They kill
My wife.
and then one of them's like, okay, fine, I'm ready. Because they fully do the Bane, they expect one of us in the wreckage thing. That guy lays down his life to get killed next to Kelly's.
My wife.
I want to know this guy's story because this is an interesting twist. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was interesting. But so then the 5th guy, he shoots Kelly with the bullets that make you lie down on the floor.
Yeah.
It's a weird shot because they each run towards each other. They each get shot like 5 times. And we know that he's been shot because he has to lie on the floor now. And he spends the rest of the scene lying on the floor.
That's right.
But the other guy has auto healing turned on, so he just
he lies on the floor
he
for a
just
bit.
breathes for a bit and then gets up and goes.
Yeah, and crucially, Kelly sees his face because he like takes off his balaclava and his night vision goggles on the way out. So Kelly then crawls into his bedroom where he finds
Your wife.
and again, really curiously muted response. He's just like,
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about this in masculinity later on.
yeah.
But we see that he gets picked up by EMTs. And he's healing up.
Meanwhile, they steal the shot from Shadow Recruit, which is like the overhead shot while he's on the gurney. That's the only interesting shot in the movie so far, and it's like 20 minutes in. Also, like it's curiously physically and metaphorically bloodless. Like I think even if you had done like a little bit more stage blood in this bit, it would have been more affecting, right? But instead, it really does come across like the guy shoots him with the bullets that make you lie down on the floor, and he has to lie down on the floor. He's not like even sort of visibly wounded, really.
He's got a couple of like little holes in him, but he can't be too wounded because that would be gay.
Sort of both collarbones he gets shot in and then has a lie down.
Yeah. He's just got an extra pair of nipples now, but higher up. So meanwhile, back at the CIA, Ritter's like, yeah, we don't know what the deal is with this, the bin men they struck, but, we know that Navy SEALs get into drugs, they get into crime, they
which
get
is
into all
true.
kinds of wild
That's
shit.
well documented. Like we're told this is a kind of like, oh, you CIA motherfucker, you piece of shit, and he's just saying
Disrespecting the
things that are
troops,
like,
is it? And it's like, that's a fact.
This is flatly true. It's like.
And Greer calls him out. Greer's like, how dare you disrespect my boys, my precious boys, my lads, my precious war criminals, who I love very much.
My son, kiss moi. Yeah.
And Richard's like, I don't know, I'm pretending to be evil at this point of the film. So
yes, we then have to go to a hospital scene between Greer and Kelly. This is like they have chemistry here, kind of like they're both kind of badly let down by the direction, but yeah, I thought so. They don't make people look fucked up enough in any hospital scene ever, which kind of deflates it a bit. And
it's fucked.
Dialogue is still terrible, but I don't know. I thought it was well acted in this scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, John's like, I want to hunt the bastards down. They took my wife. The bin men.
Genuinely, I have 8 instances of him saying on one button that I can just deploy at any time. It becomes noticeable in this movie.
And then we have to have a scene between Greer and a guy.
Yeah.
An actor I always like to see, Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce. Guy I love to see doing accent question mark.
Yeah, Guy Pearce has done some films.
He has.
And he's also done some films.
Yes.
And this is one of the latter.
Yeah, it's sort of the script moved me into a bigger house sort of situations.
He does a good job of this. I like it.
What he's doing with the accent here is, I would describe it as like foghorn leghorn, but like occasionally becoming British. I'm not going to try and imitate it because I think it is genuinely inimitable, but it's a very, very strange vibe. He's the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, of course. He's the James Woods Secretary of Defense character.
Yes, yeah. And he meets with Greer, and he takes her to be briefed by Ritter under protest. about what happened. And the CIA has determined that it's the Russians, it's the FSB. All of the guys that Kelly killed in his house were Russians. And this is sort of like revenge for them getting the Russians killed in Syria.
Yeah, because one of the unarmed men that Kelly murdered in the opening sequence in Syria was the son of the head of the FSB.
Yeah, what if that guy had a wife? You know,
no one else has a wife. No one else has a wife in this movie.
I want to talk about this in a minute. But yeah, so these were revenge killings. And Ritter's like, look, let's probably keep it quiet that the Russians have. It's like unofficially, the Russian government probably wasn't involved in this, but like, you know, people working for them were. It's like unofficial revenge killings. The CIA, we consider this matter to be closed because, hey, turnaround is fair play. We killed their dudes, they killed our dudes. Yeah. Let's not escalate it.
An entirely reasonable reaction from someone trying not to create World War III, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
But this is
treated. Greer is obviously like,
treated by the movie as an absolutely insane thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's fucking talk about it now. That like this movie really has a hard on for American exceptionalism.
Absolutely.
And like that also extends to Seeking Revenge, because as Alice said, like the guys that were killed at the start presumably had wife as well.
Yeah, possibly.
Some of those wives may have had pregnancy.
Yeah, they had wife.
They had wife. Like, do they not get revenge? No, apparently not. That revenge is bad. Americans are allowed to seek revenge. John Kelly is allowed to seek revenge, but no one else is.
Well, because only he has the strength to do it, right? Like, if their revenge is cowardly and weak and is killing his wife, whereas his revenge is like strong and daring, and it all feels deeply like unearned. At this point, we have to get him out of the hospital, so we get some rehab scenes, which I honestly think are better done than the Jack Ryan thing, even though they take about like half the time. Sort of very cold, very hard. All of the like rehab shit looks like shit. And like you get the sense that he's like animated only by his like need for revenge, which is fine.
Rather than animated by his need to like not look at a man who's had his leg blown off the way Jack Ryan was.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like you get the sense that he's animated only by revenge, because about 5 times throughout this movie he looks straight at the camera and goes, "Animated by revenge." And you're like, yes, Michael B. Jordan, you are.
Greer goes to him and is like, look, we don't know who the fourth guy was, the guy in your house who got away.
And however, the chemistry between them is gone by this point. It lasted one scene only.
Says, however, we do know that these guys all were allowed to be in the country legally, the Russians. And here are some files that I nicked from the CIA saying, we don't know who the last guy is, but we know who the guy who cleared their passports was. He's this guy called Vasilyev, which is just like facilitator, but you've just made it Russian. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
great,
for sure.
Good name. First draft ass name.
He works at the big Russian embassy where they keep all of the Russians.
Yeah, he works at the Russia factory is definitely the impression I got from this. He gets out of hospital and is like, I'm going to go find some Russians, goes to the embassy and is like, I'm going to kill that guy now.
Before he goes to the embassy, you remember John Wick? You remember the bit where shit got real in John Wick, where he goes back in his house and gets all of his revenge guns? He goes back in his house. He has a bit of a cry. That's, in fact, where he does.
But he has to do manly crying.
Yeah, he's not weeping. He has to do. There's no tears.
He can't weep because that would be gay.
Yeah.
So he has to like scream and pant and like hit the floor in himself. And I'm just this is really sad. Like, I feel bad for men that they. It's like you should cry, bro.
Yeah, and then he goes to the basement and he goes into his boiler, his hot water heater, where he retrieves a bag full of cash and guns. And I guess one thing I've always thought about guns is that, and cash for that matter, is that they love being stored in hot water.
Oh, they love it. It's one of the major things keeps them.
Also, that he literally just has a revenge murder kit ready to go, because it's not it's not Jason Bourne's go bag in the fucking safety deposit box. It's very much a roaring rampage of revenge toolkit, and it's like, I think on some level you were expecting your wife to get killed when you put that together.
Also, wouldn't that fuck with your water pressure?
Probably, yeah. I mean, energy bills through the roof. Jesus.
Yeah, your boiler's being serviced, and they're like, oh, that's probably it's full of guns.
It's a clanking noise. It's like the 50 Glocks that I keep in my boiler.
They're all clanking around the radiators in my house.
Yeah, so he retrieves his sous vide guns, and
fucking Googa once again.
We are taking this gun and we've sous vide'd it for 36 hours. It's like rubbing the gun in spices and like
marinating that bad boy. It's good.
Yeah.
He gets him out of there and takes like a single like twig of thyme out of there as well, just like some butter.
We rub the gun in Nutella and put it in the dry agent.
That's such a good fucking impression.
I love gun, especially when it's served at the correct temperature.
It's like, this is the entire time through watching this, multiple times I thought, how is this worse than John Wick when you're doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing a worse job of this than a movie that came out 7 years before this one?
And so he goes to a motel overlooking the Russia factory where he does some Harry Dubois shit. What he does is he pisses on his clothes, ? He pours vodka over his own head, which, your eyes, dude, ow. And in so doing, assumes the personality of homeless man.
That's right.
And
he's doing some The Saint shit.
the problem is, right, once again...
My name is Bruno Hautenfast.
the problem once again is that he looks like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, master of disguise, he is not. Like, hey, check out this insanely ripped homeless
This
guy.
homeless guy approaches you and he looks like he's built like a brick shit house.
Well, like the gym is the only place where he can take a shower because he's homeless, and he just uses the gym while he's in there. So he's just
Seemingly,
incredibly jacked homeless man.
Yeah.
Dude's getting nutrition. He's not homeless. I'm sorry.
No, he's not. He's bulking. He's on protein powders and shit. So the Russian guards are like, "Hey, you have to get out of here. You smell like piss." But he like avoids them by feigning to be drunk long enough to see Vasilyev leave. And then he does the Kaiser Soze thing of just walking away increasingly
normally. His limp stops.
Yeah, increasingly normal. He gets in a car and a tow truck actually, and follows him to Dulles Airport, and calls the cops to delay him by suggesting that he's a drunk driver. Then ambushes him sort of Heat style and rams the car Vasilyev is in with the tow truck, locking them inside, forcing them inside because it's crushed against the truck. Gets out, pours petrol all over the car, which was better done, and I'm reasonably certain I'm remembering this in the right movie. I've seen it done better other places. I think the place where I've seen it is Man on Fire, which is an infinitely better revenge movie. But it's been done. So it's also in Burn Notice, weirdly. So he's setting fire to the car. The guys are trapped inside, and then he just gets in with them.
Gets in the car.
Yeah, I thought this was an unusual choice.
It's an unusual choice from him. It's like a cinematography shot, right? Because the two of them are in the car. It's like fire all around them, and the guy turns to him and goes, You're excommunicado, Mr. Wick. Death will follow you wherever you go.
Yeah.
Things of that fucking nature. We've heard it 100,000 times
Why
before.
do you smell of piss?
Bro, have you pissed yourself?
Like hot piss. Like, also, somehow he manages to get in the car without burning his hand. And also, this is like outside an airport, and no one's like shot him yet.
Yeah, because he interrogates the guy, shoots Vasilyev, and Vasilyev gives him the name Viktor Rykov.
He literally
then
shoots
gets out
him
of the
until
car.
answers falls out of him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Michael B. Jordan, who, listeners, is a black man, gets out of the car in front of these American police officers with his hands up and miraculously is not shot.
Well, because he says that he's a troop. He's like, as he puts his hands up, he's like, "I'm military."
My man would have been dead before he got out of the car.
Which is like a weird flex, like being like, "I'm a troop, so you're actually not allowed to arrest me."
I'm actually
But
allowed to
arrest
do
him.
this. And then they were like, no, you aren't, mate. And they send him to jail. And we get the worst scene in the fucking movie. Actually, no, there are two bad scenes, and they're both in a row. So Ritter goes to see Secretary Clay.
Yeah, Clay, who, by the way, has 2 orbs on his desk. I really want to make this the episode art. These orbs never explained. They're just like desk ornaments, but they're kind of like, I don't know, they're just there and they're weirdly huge. And he's just like, this whole conversation takes place across these orbs. and it's really fucking distracting, is what it is.
It is very strange. But essentially, Clay gives the speech we've heard 100,000 times where he goes, oh, maybe he's doing what we can't do, actually. Maybe this guy's useful. Maybe he's shaking trees that need to be shook. And at this point, I started looking up the writers' home addresses.
Yeah,
and if you want to read those on air right now.
The details, so documents linking Russia to the attacks, to the bin man attacks, have been leaked to the news. And the news is these bin men, they're Russians, they're attacking. And Rich is I think Greer, who you wanted in that briefing, may have leaked this. And then Clay is what if this is based, actually? What if it's cool? What if it's sick?
Cool? Yeah, what if this is cool?
so Greer goes to visit Kelly in prison. Where he explains one of the themes of our podcast in the most banal possible way, where he goes,
we served a country that didn't love us back because we believed in what it could be.
And he concludes from this that
shooting Afghan civilians is the
and he concludes from this that the United States is bitch made, and that now he lives only for revenge for
a wife.
So
yeah, that's interesting that you took it that way. So both Greer and Kelly are black, and I took that in particular given the time that this film came out and would have been being filmed. Presumably, it was filmed during 2020, which was the kind of height of the George Floyd uprising. I took this as a commentary on the fact that this is a film about American patriotism with a black protagonist at a time when
it definitely is that.
Yeah. I viewed it as an attempt by the film to at least kind of address that.
Yeah, but it's never that explicit because that could be dangerous. The failing that the way in which America has failed them both is that they allowed his wife to get killed.
It's not
I tried to find the full text of his speech, but I couldn't find it. But essentially, he does the unironically goes I didn't carry an assault weapon in the streets of Aleppo only to see it come back to the United States. We're man, do you not think that any of them had families? Do you not
he says the Russians they crossed the line.
Violence.
Yes, they crossed the line by killing his wife, and he's Mr. Wife Killer. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, the whole thing started because you killed the head of the FSB's son.
He's got knuckle tats that say "Love, Kill, Wife." What do you fucking mean?
His code name on the seals was Wife Killer. But the thing about colonial violence is that it returns to the metropole in the form of your bin area getting hit by a van.
If you use both thumbs, you can make Love, Kill, Wife fit, but there's no gaps in it. LUVKIL wife.
How many fingers have you got?
People would go
normal amount.
Love.
Got a fucking normal amount of fingers, and we're gonna drop this subject now.
And then Lewif, and I'm not really.
Look,
so
this is beside the point.
so Kelly tells Greer, I will tell Clay what I know and the name that Vasiliev gave me if you get me out of here because the Russians are going to get me killed in this jail. And then we have to do jail fights.
This was almost good.
It's almost the best scene in the movie. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Yeah,
they try to get him out of his cell, and he's like, no, because you're going to try and kill me. So they send in a cell extraction team.
Yeah, and the second he's like, oh, you're not going to get me out of here unless you tell me where we're going. And they shut the gate, and he knows that they're going to bring a bunch of guys. Mm-hmm. So he gets the floor wet. I don't know. He takes his shirt off, which I appreciated.
Yep.
And gets ready to fight. And I found
he's I'd like this to be a sort of a wet fight.
He's just sort of, I don't know, because he's a Navy SEAL. Wet fight is his fucking specialism. This is his true field.
He gets +10 attack if the environment
the water
is
is his ally.
You know what I think lets this down, this scene, is the cinematography. I think you'd have to do something really innovative, the Raid level of claustrophobic camera
it's not
work.
claustrophobic enough. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you had tried to convey how confined a space it is that they're fighting in, if you had done that more successfully, it could have been a great fight scene. Instead, he just beats the shit out of all of them. They send in more guys. He continues to beat the shit out of them. He's doing sort of tower defense here, and then they send in some.
They fucking teased me with something that they didn't deliver me, which is that eventually the entire corridor outside the cell is full of SWAT, and I was like, are they going to do a fucking old boy fight? But they don't. They just give him a phone, and they're like, "No, idiot, we're on your side. Come out, please."
Yes, yeah. I don't even know if those guys were on his side or if he just had to like survive X number of waves of them before the U.S. Marshals who are on his side show up.
I think that is the case. Yeah.
The U.S. Marshals rescue him, and they get him in the car, and we get an insane piece of dialogue that I want to draw out because it's a good yardstick for how bad the dialogue is in this in general. He gets him in the car. He's talking to the U.S. Marshal.
Oh, you messed up when they sent the motorcade, buddy. They're gonna write songs about all the shit you messed up.
So 2 things. First of all, he says, "You know you messed up when they send a motorcade." Like that's a sort of commonly used
I'm saying this all the
everyday proverb. And then the marshal says they're gonna write songs about all the ways you messed up, which
people don't really write songs like that anymore.
In what genre? Is there gonna be like a John Kelly like Narco Corrido? What?
It's gonna be a ballad of John Kelly. What are you talking about?
Prison songs? Like, what are you?
Yeah. It doesn't really follow from the thing that he said. It's like they're both sort of talking at cross purposes.
Yeah. Again, like weird Chinese room dialogue. It's just like line, buddy, response to your line.
It's literally just line response, and you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Next scene.
All of the dialogue in the movie is like this, 100%. Yeah. So they take him to a CIA black site where Ritter, Clay, and Greer are waiting for him. And Clay once again does the maybe we need the Batman thing. Greer says he's too emotional. And he himself...
Greer is correct
right.
at this point.
Yes.
And also outranks him, so has the capacity to do this, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, like Kelly says, look, it's this guy Victor Rykov. He's who's behind it. Richard's like, no way, Rykov's dead. We killed him ages ago. And then turns to one of the soldiers on his team and says, can you put Rykov's face in a lineup?
Yeah. What that soldier's name, by the way?
Tran?
Which is it's not funny in itself, but it is a useful drop for us for future reference.
Yeah. That soldier's name is Tran.
Rick.
Yeah.
And they put Rykov's face in a lineup, and Kelly is immediately like, yo, that's the guy who killed my wife.
Yeah, and I immediately spotted him
wife.
from the lineup as well, because it's the guy that looks the most like Peter Stormare once a fucking game.
Yeah.
You say Peter Stormare, I say sort of like a poor man's Paul Giamatti.
I wrote that down later when I heard him speak, that he sounds and looks like Paul Giamatti as well.
Yeah, sort of Paul Giamatti's non-union equivalent.
Ritter says this guy, he may be planning attacks on U.S. soil if he is still alive, because that's
he's
kind of his
whole
whole
deal.
deal.
9/11/3 after Jack Ryan prevented 9/11/2.
So find him and bring him in alive. Kelly's like, yo, can I be on the team that's definitely going to bring him in alive? And everyone's like, no. Greer says no. And then Clay's like, but what if it's based, actually? What if it's cool? Yeah, okay. So
At this point, if you haven't clocked Clay's role in the narrative, honestly, you're an imbecile.
Yeah.
Just like, all right, yeah. He's based, maybe. Send him. And they get into a fucking plane. I'm skipping ahead very slightly yet, but they get into a plane and fucking Greer is like, you literally cannot be trusted, mate. Like, Kelly's like, what the fuck was that about? And you said that I couldn't be trusted. And Greer's like, are you gonna kill the guy that we've been sent to not kill? And he's like, absolutely, I'm gonna kill the guy. And Greer's like, that's fucking why, mate. That's why.
Yeah. It's actually a good little scene between the two of them. You get kind of like a brother-sister dynamic there, which is fun. Anyway, then so they're in a like what is ostensibly a civilian passenger jet that they're going to parachute out of.
Very specifically,
Russians,
Ritter isn't there.
Yeah,
he's gone.
And
ahead.
the Russians immediately make them with a fighter jet that, like, literally the guy looks in the window through the cockpit and is like, "Wait a second, that's fucking Michael B. Jordan." There's no way a guy in a regular plane would be that muscular.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, and they shoot down the plane. The plane crashes, the plane overturns, capsizes, sinks. Kelly has to, like, he chooses to go back in and dive and do some fucking video game diving sequence shit. Where he has to come up for air and air pockets to rescue the gear. And genuinely baffling that the special effects budget went for this. Like,
yeah, there is a really cool sequence as the fuselage of the plane is flooding and rotating, and the water's like sloshing around. I was like, oh wow, that's kind of very well made. You can see where the Amazon budget went.
Yeah.
I read that.
It's like, why here?
Well, I don't know. I always like a sequence that requires like a dedicated like set, you know?
Yeah,
it must
I
have
love
been
it
a
when things
bitch to film.
rotate.
Had to
Like,
build a plane
yeah.
to rotate and fill with water. I know they had a fucking contraption on the deck at that point.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like that bit in Inception where they build the rotating
Yeah,
set.
I find
It's
that
cool.
fun.
Probably sort of very similar to the helicopter immersion training thing that they have a fuselage that turns. Yeah, no, it's cool. It doesn't really serve much use in the movie. Like all it tells us is, hey, Michael B. Jordan's character, he's a badass.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan still refuses to follow a single fucking order, but it's okay because it's based. And everyone loves him.
So they get to Russia, brackets land. They have a weird scene where they introduce themselves with their real names because they think they're going to die, which is like a weirdly sort of confected thing. This idea that like SEALs all have aliases, SEAL sonas that they don't like.
Not Greer or Kelly though. They just get called Greer and Kelly
bros
by everyone.
Yeah. The fucking Kelly thinks that Ritter has betrayed them, so he threatens him, bangs his head against a wall a few times until, like, essentially his method of field expedient interrogation is to threaten him with a gun, choke him, say, "You're trying to betray me and you killed my wife." And Ritter just says, "No, I didn't," until he lets him go.
Yeah, there's not really any sort of new information that's revealed as a result of this, other than Ritter's like, I am on your side. I know how it looks, but I am on your side.
Yeah,
and
and Kelly's like, okay, well, asked and answered, I guess. Time to go to Murmansk, where we infiltrate the apartment building of Discount Paul Giamatti. Kelly breaks away on his own because he wants to kill him instead of capture him, as we knew that he would. And Discount Paul Giamatti is like, you fool, we're all being played here. There's a man behind the man. I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Yeah, he just says a bunch of cryptic bullshit and then blows himself up.
He's wearing a suicide vest, and it's like a fully like vest covered in plastic explosives. And when he blows himself up, Kelly just like ducks behind a door frame. He's fine. It's
it looked like it was going to go off bigger than that.
We saw you shoot through a wall thicker than that at the beginning of this movie 5 or 6 hours ago, whenever that was.
I mean, at the very least, he'd be deaf.
Yeah, for sure. But he gets some dust on him. The rest of the team catch him up. They're about to leave, and they are attacked by a sniper in what is, I thought, was a reasonably effective sequence. Like, there's good sound design. They don't like it's a big sort of like meaty sniper rifle noise, and then you see big like plumes of impact dust and stuff.
It escalates nicely in that they figure out where the sniper is, and then there's also a second one.
Yeah, and then it ruins it a bit by adding a third one, which
he's like, I'm here too, guys.
Video games, once again, video games. So what happens then is the Russian cops show up, and the Russian cops' plan is I hear gunfire, I simply get out of my car in the middle of a 4-way intersection and I stand the fuck around. And in the course of doing that, one of the snipers shoots both the cops, and Greer goes, holy shit, he just killed 2 cops. And then there's some sad music, like it's an earnestly back the blue ass moment about Russian cops.
The Russian police?
Yeah, it's so funny that like the thin blue line also extends to, the Russian flag already has a thin blue line, so it's efficient.
Quite a thick blue line even on the Russian flag.
That's true, yeah. It's like a whole third of it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Russian cops are much more important to society because their lines
over time.
Yeah, this film is like slightly confused about whose lives matter when it comes to agents of the Russian state.
Yeah,
cops can't kill them, but troops when they're unarmed can kill them. That's fine.
Yeah, confused even within the same scene, because the Russian troops. It's like the military police is what they are, based on the armbands and stuff. They try and storm the apartment, and at this point, the penny finally drops, and Kelly is like, "Oh, wait a second, we've been set up the whole time. They're gonna. That's why they had to like kill the Russian guy in my bedroom, so there was a Russian guy behind. We're gonna get killed here." And that's going to start World War III because there's going to be like dead Americans in Russia having a shootout with their troops.
Yeah, so this is the worst thing that you can ever do to me, is to make me watch a fucking 2-hour movie and then hit me at the end with, my God, this was all planned from the start. Like, yeah, cunt, because you fucking wrote it like this. There's no, like, Secretary Clay's, he's behind it, by the way, hi everyone. His fucking plan was to have Russian guys kill Kelly's wife and then leave a Russian in there so that he would snap, go kill the Russian ambassador, go to prison, give a speech about America that persuades the CIA to let him go to Russia so that he can get killed by Paul Giamatti and then also 2 cops die. So that the Russian cops would find an American soldier and start World War III, even though finding a Russian soldier didn't start World War III because America is more fucking like noble than Russia or some shit. And we're supposed to be like, genius. He put it all together. He knew it would work like that. What do you fucking mean? It doesn't make any sense. You can't pretend it does. It's not. These things don't logically follow.
Also, why, if he wanted a war with Russia, why not just lie? Why not just lie about shit? That's much easier to do.
My brother in Christ, you are the Secretary of Defense. You have one half of the authority required to launch nuclear weapons.
If you want a war with Russia, you can have a war with Russia, dude.
Why was it necessary to kill this guy's wife? Why are you pretending you planned that he would set that car on fire? Why any of this? And why does every character look directly at the screen and go, damn, that's clever? No, it's not!
But so Kelly establishes, right, one of the SEALs gets shot by the sniper and is like wounded and dying, whatever. Kelly establishes, right, that we're being played here.
And then
the thing that they want, the worst thing we could possibly do, is to get in a gunfight with the Russian military. The Russian military shows up, he shoots them.
We get 3 things in very close progression. We get that reveal. I've done that. I'm fine.
Yeah.
We get. He literally. We get my favorite sequence in all of these fucking films, which is for him to be like, "My God, we're all being played against each other." And then immediately, like, start shooting the guys that we've just textually confirmed are blameless. Just, like, fucking brutally killing these guys. He chokes one of them out for no fucking...
He starts throwing grenades off the roof onto cop cars. We've just established that killing cops is bad, and now he's, like, opening up on them with a machine gun.
It's based. And he says to them, he goes, I will distract them because if they find your bodies, you're Marines... But for me, I'm just a convict. And the answer to that is, no, you aren't. You're the biggest man on Earth. And additionally, you're wearing fucking Navy SEAL uniform. I don't think they check the prison records. What would that mean?
At this point, I have a box out in my notes here of Russian cop body count inflicted by John Kelly. He kills 13 of these fuckers after realizing, oh, hey, it's going to be bad politically if we kill any
The bad guy kills 2 and it's treated with such sobriety, and then he kills 13 on the way out, and that's fucking based.
Yeah, like,
None of them have wives.
This is American
Don't worry.
exceptionalism. Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's fine if he does it, the movie. Fucking kill me.
Yeah. So the way that he gets out, right, is he sets off some more explosives, like a big bomb. He blows up a big part of central Murmansk.
He injures 100,000 people and then steals an ambulance.
Yeah, well,
is that not a war crime too? What are you doing?
The way he gets to the ambulance, by the way, is it's fucking nicked from Leon the Professional, is what it is. But like, he does a quick change in the midst of an explosion where he just takes a Russian guy's uniform and walks to the thing.
Hitman shit. At least doesn't piss on it this time.
He still smells of piss the whole time. Russians are like, what does he smell? Smell of
still
piss.
Pisses on the outfit for the quick change, just like habitually.
As a sort of impediment to his disguise, this is happening in northern Russia, and Michael B. Jordan is still black, right?
Yeah, he wears a gas mask.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the fucking Soviet joke. It's the fucking joke.
Yeah, it is.
It's literally
It literally
the
is.
joke. It's just like, oh yeah, we trained a guy. He's like, he speaks fluent Russian. He's like the greatest agent we've ever had, and he gets killed day 1 because he's black. And it's like, well done. You've done the joke unironically, and it's the plot of your fucking movie.
Yeah.
Also, this action sequence as he's escaping the building just goes on way too long because I don't care about John Clark as a character yet. Still, like halfway through the film, I don't care about him.
Yeah, they had like fucking 20 minutes to get us like on board with this guy, and all we got was
My wife.
which is not enough.
It's not quite
It's
enough.
not enough.
Of which they boldly spent the first 10 telling us that he's a murderer.
Yeah.
It's just no one has wives except this fucking guy. And we're not even overselling. Multiple times throughout the movie, he looks directly at the camera and explains that they shouldn't have killed his wife because that's like activated him to become a sicko.
Oh, I have the drop.
They're gonna play by my rules now. I'll show them what a pawn can do to a king.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, so he goes back to DC.
We do nicely establish that Rich is actually a good guy because they get on the boat to leave, and he's like, "When I go back, they're going to send me back to prison." And Rich is like, "Do you want a bag full of cash, and we'll just tell everyone that you're dead? Because I'm nice now."
It's very helpful.
Yeah, it's cool. Ritter goes, "John, you're going to have to go ghost so we can find out who's behind this." And then the next scene, John walks into the bathroom with Secretary Clay and goes, "Hello, I had to go ghost so that I could find out you were behind this." And like, was there not supposed to be something between those two? I don't know.
Yeah,
I've gone ghost. All right, I'm done being ghost. Two consecutive scenes.
He exits ghost mode very quickly.
Ceases to be ghost.
Kidnaps.
He's no
Clay.
longer Danny Phantom.
Yeah.
He does a classic thing where he like tricks him into revealing more than he's supposed to know. He's like, "Oh yeah, like isn't it really fucked up that like they had a guy blow himself up with a suicide vest?" And Clay's like, "Yes, it is." And he's like, "But I didn't tell you that had happened when I just said it now." And Clay's like, "Oh, dicks."
Yeah, it's like it's the most fucking wow. Well done, you got it. That's like, oh god, I hate
and
movies.
Clay, like, if Clay was any good at lying, which you think he would be as Secretary of Defense, he'd have gone, "Yeah, I read it in the report."
Yeah, but he doesn't. He like tries to play it off and gets kidnapped for his trouble.
And then he gives a speech that you've heard 100 million times before, where he goes, "No, you remember this? The Cold War was good because of economy. We need another enemy again." And you're like, okay.
He says half this country thinks the other half is an enemy because we don't have a real fight anymore. And it's like half of the US thought the other half were communists during the Cold War, and like US defense spending after the Cold War ended went up.
Buddy, I'm a faggot. Half of the country does think I'm their enemy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also, like, because of class conflict, they're not even wrong. But he's on some Dr. Manhattan shit. At this point, so Clay says something very interesting. He says, "I thought our way would keep people like you in check." And the only way I can interpret that is him saying, "I thought our way, military violence, would keep people like you, elected politicians, in check." And it's like, what is the politics of this movie? But anyway, he says to Clay, like,
worship.
"We are currently driving to your country home." He threatens to kill his wife and children.
Yeah, I wrote
unless
the protagonist.
Clay reveals his plan. I've written "This is our hero." Like, it's really fucking bleak.
Yeah, it is. And then he simply like drives them off the edge of a bridge, makes Clay say his wife's name, drowns him in the car. Because, like, as we've established with the Bourne movie and with fucking Quantum of Solace or Casino Royale, like, when a meaningful woman dies, it has to happen in a sort of an underwater location. This has now transported that emotionally to an underwater location.
That's right. Additionally, this is one of those movies that believes that if you're angry enough, you can hold your breath for like 10 minutes.
It's true. It's something that I think I last believed when I was a toddler.
Well, the Navy SEALs are magic,
he kills
so
Clay.
they can.
Yeah, he kills Clay. I do like that afterwards he just kind of like sits in the car with him because he doesn't really want to get rescued or live. And then he hallucinates his wife, who tells him that heaven is real. I wasn't really expecting Tom Clancy's Without Remorse to take a position on the existence of an afterlife. But
Tom Clancy's in the background of this heaven sequence being like, "I disavow all of this."
No, it's good. He has like a sequence. He thinks of his wife and he's like, "Is this heaven?" And she goes, "No." And it's like in front of a fire,
this is just
like
a set.
campfire. And I'm like, "Yeah, you're in hell, man. You're in hell for all the people
Yeah,
you killed."
that was it.
Remember,
That was an
now?
interesting. I was like, if I was depicting the afterlife, I would stay away from fire as like an image.
It's like, oh, but it's
Yeah.
just, not great. And then he gets rescued, and I don't fucking know, man.
he gets rescued, and then he's putting together the fucking Avengers
Yeah,
initiative. It's
movies aren't
literally
art
a
anymore.
mid-credit scene.
Well, we're not there yet, right? Because Greer and everyone like rescues him with like scuba shit. And then obviously this conversation between him and Clay has been recorded. And like Ritter has the recording and like goes to his director of the CIA and says, "Hey, we got recording of Clay. Like, At no point does anyone say, actually, what you have there is a recording of a CIA operative killing the Secretary of Defense, which you'd think would be kind of politically explosive.
No one cares.
No one cares. But anyway, Ritter uses this leverage to get a favor and gives John a new identity, John Clark.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. They send him to the clinic that makes you white from Die Another Day. They make him Liev Schreiber and then Willem Dafoe.
Yes, yeah. There's a strange clinic. And then after that, he says goodbye to Greer, and in a mid-credit scene...
I want to just, give the audience this. Again, he cannot
I didn't watch this.
He can't stop coming back. Yeah, he goes ghost, he comes back. The second the credits started to roll, I wrote down, brackets, mid-credit scene, John, I'm putting together a team, the Avengers, and then it literally happened when I finished writing the note. It cuts to a mid-credit scene, fucking John's I'm thinking of putting together a team, an international anti-terrorist group called Rainbow. And I'm
yeah. It's
I will
cool
pay
that,
someone to kill me.
Rainbow Six was first of all, Rainbow Six is pretty directly oppositional to this movie's thing of Americans are unique and special. It had a Russian on it, actually. But also it's very funny that as an intellectual property, Rainbow Six is now a video game about gay dudes repelling onto each other and stuff, which is fine.
That's
I
cool.
missed the single player, but it is cool. It doesn't really jibe with what I think the movie is going to be, but they are contractually obliged to make it. So
yeah, but
what does this film say about masculinity?
I'm trying to imagine I'm having a good time.
If anyone fucks with your wife, you should kill them.
Crying is gay.
Crying is gay. Other people don't have wives. Only your wife is
other
real.
people don't have wives.
Yeah.
Only your wife is real.
Wife solipsism.
Yeah. Russians are gay. The CIA is gay.
America's gay now as well.
Yeah, the economy is gay. And the only thing that's not gay is hanging out with your wife. A thing which they want to take away from you.
They want to do that. I was having a really good time imagining an MCU level of hype when they do a character reveal of Chavez Ding or something. Everyone in the cinema standing up oh my god, it's Ding.
I kept expecting him to I thought there was going to be a credit sequence where he meets Jack Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
They can't decide whether it exists in the same universe because their original plan was to do this with Kevin Costner back again and Tom Hardy, and then it did not happen. So
I mean, this movie's been in development hell for 9 years. Not a good movie. What does it say about masculinity? Quite a lot. No one else has wives. Only your wife is real. It's gay to
Americans
cry if she's
can do whatever
killed,
they want,
but it's not gay to go on a roaring rampage of revenge. So you can do that if you want.
But we have a science-based rating on this podcast.
It's called the SCUM system. Stands for SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. I know which one it's going to score very highly on, but how smarmy is without remorse?
0.
Not very.
It's no smarm at all. It doesn't.
There's no jokes. Really.
The only time it tries to be smarmy is when the guy's buddy, responds to the thing you just said. And it's it kind of fails to be smarmy.
Songs about getting a motorcade, about when you fucked up.
You're going to write songs
buddy,
about
I'm
when
just
you
written by a word cloud.
The whole movie is a fucking exquisite corpse. It's unbelievable.
0.
Yeah, no smarm whatsoever.
Notable for an absence of it. Cultural insensitivity. The lives of everyone from Russia to Syria to Russia again, totally disposable.
3 other countries.
But on the other hand, I do want to sort of take a point off for the fact that it weirdly gets in its feelings about Russian cops. That's
briefly.
That's its one moment when it decides it has to be culturally sensitive. Is in Russian culture, the cop is very highly respected, and killing them is considered a major faux pas.
That's what Michael B. Jordan is shown on the loading screen as he gets on the plane to Russia.
There's a cultural norm in Russia that killing a cop with a sniper rifle
it's considered very disrespectful. Yeah.
3?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
When I was yelling earlier, I forgot to mention that part of Secretary Clay's plan was to tip the Russians off that they were coming over in a passenger jet so that they could get shot down. That was part of it. He expected them all to survive.
But then they wouldn't have found the bodies of the Americans.
chest
That doesn't make
master.
sense.
No, because he knew they would all survive, right? So that they could get in there undercover.
Yeah, because why else would they
planned it
build that
all.
big set?
He planned it all from the get-go.
No,
It's one of those categorical errors between like table knowledge and character knowledge. Is they've literally they wrote the movie so they know the way it happened, and then they're like, but what if one of the characters knew the way it happened as well? It's like it doesn't work like that, man.
Okay. So unprovoked violence. My answer comes in
very high.
the form of a
I'm
drop.
putting an 11.
That's basically like the whole thing of the movie. He also the curious bit when he interrogates Vasiliev, where he just sort of like shoots him in different places until he gets an answer he wants.
Torture, murder, all of it's deemed fine. I think it's got to be like 9.
That's fine.
Yeah.
What happened to Vasiliev's
9
driver? Who knows? Completely blameless guy got shot.
Burned to death.
Just the driver, just murdered,
Just
burned
murdered,
alive.
unprovoked. It's cool because he's Russian. Well, the thing about the Russian cops is that he gets sad when the two like roll up like bobbies on the beat, but when the military cops rock up, they've allowed themselves to die.
Once you get that like 5-star wanted level, misogyny. I mean, it shows a female officer being leader of a SEAL team, which,
doesn't
as
pass
far
the
as I know, has yet to happen. No, it does not. She has no inner life other than being like bros with him, just as his wife has no inner life other than being about to have his baby.
Does the film pass the Kill James Bond test? Do any female characters express any thoughts or opinions or represent a perspective on the themes of the film?
No.
Which are what, I guess? Like,
America,
what are the themes of the film?
Yeah.
America has some problems because it's gay now.
Korea primarily exists to have the themes like told to her by Michael B. Jordan. And
she just sort of reacts.
Yeah, it cuts back to her the entire way through, and she's like fully stony faced the entire way, which is the character. But like, it doesn't.
Like, what are the themes of this film? Like,
the themes
are the Amazon Prime owns the rights to everything, and every movie they make is the most expensive movie ever made, and it all looks like shit.
They would like to have a Tom Clancy verse, please. And if we keep making them, eventually one of them will stick. This is something that people have been believing since Hunt for Red October. It will never change. We are doomed to hear about Jack Ryan and John Clark forever.
Yeah, and we'll
5?
James Bond will return.
6 even?
Everything like that.
I do a 5. It's like thoughtless misogyny of omission. Yeah.
In that case, that gives it a total score of 17, which nicely rounds out the Tom Clancy arc because it's the same score that our first one, Patriot Games, got.
Atrocious.
Terrific.
Yeah.
What a waste of our time and yours, listener.
You can always tell that it's a movie we all hated when the episode is a tight hour. Just like, let's get the fuck out of here.
A nice tight hour, yes. So I think the move from here, now that we're done with Clancy, until they do Rainbow Six or until they do another Ryan one again, is to commit ourselves to another series, another espionage-based series.
It's time to go back in time and enjoy some more fun vibes.
Let's go back in time.
This is Abby. Let's
your
find
idea. Some actors that aren't currently working, so that we can talk about them.
So we can talk shit on them. Yeah.
Some made by producers who aren't currently making a lot of very big stuff that I want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
being distributed on streaming services that are making,
Hey, what I said about Amazon Prime does not go for
just for me. Amazon Prime, please buy my TV series. But anyway,
hey, if Amazon Prime wants to buy a TV series off me, love them. Don't worry about it. I take everything
you know what?
back.
Fuck it. Yeah.
So, listeners, you might be aware that there was a modern Man from U.N.C.L.E. film made with Henry Cavill. What you might not know,
and now current non-person Army Hammer. Yes.
Yeah. What you might not know is that there's actually a series of like Man from U.N.C.L.E. films made in the 60s and 70s, very much in the kind of Roger Moore spy era vein, which are very badly made and very funny. So I think we should try watching. Let's watch the first one of those, and then we'll like see if we get bored.
There's like 15 of the fuckers.
Yeah, let's dip our toes.
We'll watch as many of them as we need to, and then we'll do the modern Man from U.N.C.L.E. series to round it out.
Gorgeous.
Outstanding. Well, this has been another mainline episode of Kill James Bond. We have a Patreon, but you don't have to subscribe to it if you want the bonus episodes over this winter because of the cost of living. you just get them for free if you want. If you've got some extra money, if you're like an investment banker or something, or you work for Amazon Prime,
Or you live in a country that isn't England.
If you live in a normal functional country or something that approaches one, then you can still subscribe to the Patreon. We would be very grateful for it because it helps us pay our own heating bills. And we will see you for the next bonus episode, which is going to be
Saloom.
Outstanding.
Let's
Bye,
go.
everyone.
Oh, the bin man.
My wife.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. This movie was not good. It's free on Amazon Prime, but my god, it's not even worth the money for that. Just, oh Christ. But if you would like to hear us talk about a movie that's actually good, feel free to tune in next week on the free feed for Saloom, which is a movie I'm very excited to introduce to you. And that movie will be on the free feed because it is the winter of content. But we still have some patrons, and special thanks to those £15 and above patrons, and those are Christine Fox, Amanda Comet, Fox Winchester, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Paint Makala, George Rohack, Thomas Oberhart, Nick Boris, Yarrick, Nate, Natamori, Coconut Crab, Corios, Benno Rice, Kit Devine, Library Hitman, Beef Crime, Callan Burney, Jonathan Gerd, Jack Drummond, Max Gamenhart, Kentucky Fried Commie, Hell Bloodhands, Jay Martindale, Top O, Lisa Maish, maybe? I don't know. I should look into all of these. Jonathan Siegel, Big Titty Goth Girl, Mothman, Ellen Peterberg, Harrison Fuller, Trip, Fremen Commissar Jen, Sydney Steckel, Tiger Otaku, Charlie Out of the Closet, Pauline, Will You Marry Jenna? I don't know. Let me know. Danny Potter, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Zoe Shepherd, Elizabeth Cox, Finn Ross. Emily thought this film was about short owls. That's out of date. There's no way this one was. Notably, my mother has cancelled hers, so not to friend of the show. Alfredo, Quinn Valeri, I make Devon say this out loud, Wolfie, Big Old Boy, Ryle Leal, Al Irving, Lucy Keeley, Josh Simmons, Lauren Baston, Millie, and Bon LeBon. Kill James Bond is Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer is the wonderful Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by the alright Maddie Lubchansky, and our website is by the pretty good Tom Allen. See ya.